Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good day I bid to Dr. Aziz Jamal. So today we are going to deliver our presentation about HSM 544, which is medical terminology. Before we start our presentation, I would like to introduce you our group members. So me, I am Muhammad Naif Zakwan bin Nazri, and my friends Muhammad Al-Hashim bin Muhammad Zahid, Muhammad Amiridham bin Muhammad Rizal, Ahmad Muzakir bin Ahmad Naha, and Muhammad Hilman bin Khairul Anwar. As for today, we are going to present about the spatial sense, eyes and ears. So now let's start with the structure of the eyes.
For the function of the eyes, as you know that the eyes are the receptor of organ of sight, and their function are to receive image and transmit them to the brain, and it collect light from the visible world around us and convert into the nerve impulses. For the structure of the eyes is the anexa. The first is the orbit. The orbit is known as the eye socket, which is the bony cavity of the skull that contains and protect the eyeballs. Next is the muscle of the eye. It consists of 6 major eyes muscles, which are arranged in 3 pairs, which are superior and inferior oblique muscle. The second is superior and inferior rectus muscle, and the third is lateral and medial rectus muscle. This muscle make a wide range and very precise eye movement possible. The oblique describe an angle that is slanted but is not perpendicular or parallel, and the rectus means straight. The second is the eyelids, eyebrows, and eyelashes. The upper and lower eyelids, together with the eyebrow and eyelashes, help protect the eyeballs from foreign matter, excessive light, and injuries due to other causes. The canthus is the angle where the upper and lower eyelids meet. The cilia, which are the small hairs, make up the eyebrows and the eyelashes. The tarsal plate is the framework within the upper and lower eyelids that provide the necessary stiffness and shape. Conjunctiva is the transparent mucous membrane that line the underside of the eyelids and continues to form a protective covering over the exposed surface of the eyeball. Next is the lacrimal apparatus. It's known as the tear apparatus. Consists of the structures that produce, store, and remove tears. The lacrimation is the secretion of tears. The lacrimal glands, which secrete lacrimal fluid, which is tears, and located on the underside of the upper lids, just above the outer corner of the eye. The lacrimal fluid, which is commonly known as tears, is to maintain the moisture of the anterior surface of the eyeball. Blinking distributes the lacrimal fluid across the eye. The lacrimal canal consists of a duct at the inner corner of each eye, and this duct collects tears and empty them into the lacrimal sacs. The crying is overflowing the tears from the lacrimal canals. The lacrimal sac is known. The tear sac is the enlargement of the upper portion of the lacrimal duct, and is also known as a nasolacrimal duct, which is the passageway that drains excess tears into the nose.
So let's take a look at the slide. So the eyeball. So the eyeball is also known as claw. It is a 1-inch sphere with only about 1/6 of its surface visible. So the term optic means pertaining to the eye or sight, and opt means visions, and it means pertaining to. And then ocular means pertaining to the eye. Ocu means eye, and ocular means pertaining to. Next one is extraocular means outside the eyeball. Extra means outside, ocu means eye, and arm means pertaining to. And then intraocular means within the eyeball. Intra means within, ocu means eye, and arm means pertaining to. So now let's talk about the walls of the eyeball. So the wall of the eyeball are made up of three layers, which is sclera, choroid, and retina. So the sclera, also known as the white of the eye, as you can see at the figures, and it also maintains the shape of the eye and protects the delicate inner layers of tissue, and fibrous tissue forms the outer layer of the eye, except for the part covered by the cornea. And the combining form, scleral, means the white of the eye, and it also means heart. And then for the second layer, which is choroid, also known as the choroid coat, is the opaque middle layer of the eyeball that contains many blood vessels and provide the blood supply for the entire eye. And opaque means that light cannot pass through the substance. And the last layer is retina, is the sensitive innermost layer that lines the posterior segment of the eye. So the retina receives nerve impulse and transmit them to the brain via the optic nerve. And this is also known as the second cranial nerve. Next, the segments of the eyeball. So the interior of the eyeball is divided into two, which is anterior and posterior two segments. So let's take a look at the first one, which is anterior segment of the eye. So the anterior segments makes up the front one third of the eyeball. This segment is divided into anterior and posterior chambers, so don't confuse for that. So the anterior chamber is located behind the cornea and in front of the iris. So the posterior chamber is located behind the iris and in front of the ligaments holding the lens in place. And then the next one is aqueous humor, which as is also known as aqueous fluids. It is fills both of this chamber, and the term aqueous means watery or containing water. So as used here, the term humor describes any clear body liquid or semi-fluid substance, and the aqueous humor helps the eye maintain its shape and nourish the intraocular structures. This fluid is constantly filtered and drained through the trabecular meshwork and the canal of slits. And the last one is intraocular pressure. It is a measurement of the fluid pressure inside the eye, and this pressure is regulated by the rate at which aqueous humor enters and leaves the eyes. So lastly, let's take a look at the second eye, which is posterior segment of the eye. So the posterior segment, which makes up the remaining two-thirds of the eyeball, it is aligned with the retina and filled with vitreous humor. So it is also known as vitreous, and it is soft, clear, jelly-like mass that contains millions of fine fibers, and these fibers.
The next structure of the eyes, the uvea. The uvea is the pigmented layer of the eye. It has a rich blood supply and consists of the choroid, ciliary body, and iris. Now, let's take a look on ciliary body. Ciliary body, located within the choroid, is a set of muscle and suspensory ligaments that adjust the thickness of the lens to refine the focus of light rays on the retina. The functions of ciliary body. The ciliary body produces the aqueous humor that fills the anterior segment of the eye. Ciliary body focus on nearby objects. These muscles adjust the lens to make it thicker. Ciliary body also focus on distant objects. These muscles stretch the lens so it is thinner. Next is the iris. Iris is the colorful circular structure that surrounds the pupil. The muscles within the iris control the amount of light that is allowed to enter the eye through the pupil. Function of the iris. There are two functions of the iris. The first one is to decrease the amount of light entering the eye. The muscle of the iris contract, making the opening of the pupil smaller. The second one, to increase the amount of light entering the eye. The muscles of the iris relax or dilate, making the opening of the pupil larger. Now, let's take a look on the cornea, pupil, and lens. The cornea is the transparent outer surface of the eye, covering the iris and pupil. The pupil is the black circular opening in the center of the iris. The lens is the clear, flexible, curved structure that focuses image on the retina. The function of the cornea, pupils, and lens. Cornea is the primary structure focusing light rays entering the eye, while the pupils permits light to enter the eye. The lens is contained with a clear capsule located behind the iris and pupil. The function of the lens is to transmit light, focusing it on the retina.
Hello everyone. Now I would like to talk about our ears. Alright, I will cover about the anatomy and the physiology of our ears. Now we move to the function of our ears. Basically, our ears have two main functions, which is hearing and balancing. So first function, which is hearing. When sound wave enter our ear canal, our tympanic membrane or eardrum will vibrate. The vibration passes to the three tiny bones ossicle in our middle ear. The ossicle amplify and transmit the sound wave to our inner ear. Alright, now you know about the hearing. How about the balancing? So for the balancing, the organ balance, which is the vestibular system, where it can found in the inside of the inner ear. It is made up of three semicircular canals and two otolite organs known as the atricle and the saccule. Without ear, we cannot hear and lose our balance. So, I would like to talk about some abbreviation related to the ears. Firstly is auris dexter, which means right ear, and then auris sinister for the left ear, auris uterque for the each ear, and lastly oris unitas, which is both ear. So we move to the another slide. As you can see, there is a figure of the structure of the ear. I get this from Cengage ebook. So as you can see here, the structure of the ear, there are three main structure, which is outer ear, middle ear, and the inner ear. So the pinna and the external auditory canal are the part of the outer ear. The tympanic membrane, malleus, and incus are part of the middle ear. The semicircular canals, vestibule, cochlea, oval window, and eustachian tube are parts of the inner ear. The mastoid bone cells are present in the periphery of parts of the middle and inner ear. How about we go more detail about the outer ear? So the pinna, also known as the auricle or outer ear, is the external portion of the ear. The pinna captures sound wave and transmits them into the external auditory canal. The external auditory canal transmits this sound to the tympanic membrane, eardrum, or the middle ear. So, do you know about cerumen? Alright, cerumen, also known as earwax, is secreted by the ceruminous glands that line the auditory canal. This sticky yellow-brown substance has protective function because it traps small insects, dust, debris, and some bacteria to prevent them from entering the middle ear. You all already know about the outer ear. How about we move to the middle ear? So, the tympanic membrane, also known as the eardrum, is located between the outer and middle ear. When sound waves reach the eardrum, this membrane transmits the sounds by vibrating. The mastoid process is the temporal bone containing hollow air space that surrounds the middle ear. Auditory ossicles. The auditory ossicles are the three small bones located within the middle ear. The role of these bones is to transmit the sound wave from the eardrum to the inner ear by vibration. So, the middle ear comprises the three ear ossicles, malleus, incus, and stapes. Its main function is to amplify and transmit the sound wave to the internal ear. The eustachian tube is also present in the middle ear, and it connects the middle ear to the nasopharynx. It equalizes pressure between the middle ear and the outer atmosphere. As you can see at the slide, I have attached two figures, which is structure of the middle ear, and beside it, I attach the picture of the ossicles, the three ossicle bones, which is malleus, incus, and stapes.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. Now I will explain about the other structure of ear, which is the inner ear. The inner ear contains the sensory receptors for hearing and balance. The structure of the inner ear are a maze-like system known as labyrinth. Labyrinth is a complex structure in the inner ear which contains the organ of hearing and balance. So now, let's move to the first structure, which is the oval window. The oval window which is located under the base of the stapes, is the membrane that separates the middle ear from the inner ear. Vibration enter the inner ear through this structure. For the second one, we have cochlea. Cochlea is the snail-shaped structure of the inner ear and is where sound vibration are converted into nerve impulse. Located within the cochlea are the cochlear duct, the organ of Corti, the semicircular canals, and the acoustic nerves. Cochlea comes from the Greek term of snails.
The third one is the organ of Corti. The organ of Corti receives the vibration from the cochlear duct and relays them to the auditory nerve fibers. These fibers transmit the sound impulse to the auditory center of the brain's cerebral cortex, where they are heard and interpreted. For the next one is the three semicircular canals connected to the cochlea by the vestibule. It contains the liquid endolymph and sensitive hair cells. The bending of these hair cells in response to the movement at the head sets up impulse in nerve fibers to help maintain equilibrium. Equilibrium is the state of balance. And for the last one is the acoustic nerve. Cranial nerve 8, also called auditory nerve, transmit this information to the brain. The acoustic nerve are made up of two parts: cochlear nerve that transmits sound for hearing and vestibular nerve that sense balance and head position. These nerves are discussed in chapter 10. Now I will explain about normal action of the ears. The first one is air conduction. Air conduction is the process by which sound waves enter the ear through the pinna and then travel down the external auditory canal until they strike the tympanic membrane, which is located between the outer ear and middle ear. The second one is bone conduction. It occurs as the eardrum vibrates and causes the auditory ossicles of the middle ear to vibrate. The vibration of these bones transmit the sound wave through the middle ear to the oval window of the inner ear. And for the last one is sensorineural conduction. It occurs when this sound vibration reach the inner wave and relay them to the auditory nerve for transmission to the brain.